So I'm Justin Paterson from the London College of Music, part of the University of West London. I'm going to present some research that I conducted with my friend and colleague Dr. Rob Toulson of Anglia Ruskin University. This is in a new music release format, an interactive album app. This was an AHRC funded project. We ran a small team and it was funded, it was funded by the AHRC in collaboration with an artist called Daisy and the Dark. So, interactivity in music is nothing new. I've got some comparisons up there, and you could view the old tone controls on a domestic system as interacting with music in some way. I don't know if any of you ever used to play with those things dynamically when you were young. I certainly did, just to see what would happen long before I got into professional type of kit. And of course vinyl is something that we've interacted with in many ways, scratching, mixing, all those kind of things. There are many possibilities in the digital era to extend this from volume control of individual stems to application of effects to spatiality, all manner of things. We decided to ask some fundamental research questions around this kind of model and build an app to explore these ideas. In itself, that's nothing new, of course, because here we have a number of apps, commercial apps, that have been released that explore interactivity in music. Björk's Biophilia was one very high-profile one. There's a little screen grab of it over there. And of course, that was a rather mystical environment that you could immerse yourself in, even lose yourself in. Then Peter Gabriel's Tiles, just next to it. For those of you who are not familiar with it, it was a sort of instant remix type thing where the user would move the little tiles around and you could manipulate stems with a slightly abstract paradigm. And then there are a number of apps out there with a kind of DAW type interface, faders and pan pots. This is one by Bernard Lavender. With these things, you can play back the track as intended and then move the faders to change the volume. A problem I have with that kind of thing is that the mix sounds great when you start off, but as soon as you change the faders, yes, it's interesting, yes, you're interacting, but actually the mix isn't so good anymore because it's not as was intended. So there's a certain novelty there. And talking of novelty, a pretty recent app is Massive Attack's Phantom that came out that if you've got an iWatch will measure your heartbeat, take a feature of your camera, do a bit of geolocation and give you a remix based on all those things. So it's quite a kind of abstract kind of experience, but it's certainly driven by the circumstances of playback in a number of ways. So we set out to explore the degrees to which artists would wish to engage with this, to which the audience might wish to engage with it. Because one of the problems is a lot of people see these things as games. Music is not an active thing that we do on the whole. You know, as professional musicians, as many of us have been, yes, we do it, but the average consumer doesn't do music. They listen to music whilst they do something else, be that cleaning up in the kitchen or fixing the car or whatever. So I was quite interested in exploring slightly more passive modes of listening as well as the doing. Talking of doing, here's in the extreme a couple of DJ tools. The Ninja Jam app, which gives you an environment to actively remix. It's a wonderful toy if you haven't tried it, but it's very much about doing. And then here's a slightly lesser known one, the Reactify. Sorry, just see around there. Yeah, and these are both ways of really controlling your music quite dramatically with your eye thing. And again, these are kind of active things that we have to do. So Rob and I built upon some earlier research that Rob had done, developing the app as an album format. Francois in the Atlas Mountains was an artist that Rob and his partner Script Incorporated produced an album app for. And we used this as a shell to add layers of interactivity into. That's kind of a map of the project, which probably isn't terribly interesting, so I think I'll skip that slide. I do use it sometime. Perhaps just very briefly in summary, we tested out a number of algorithms, evaluated those at a prototype stage, and we only took a selection of those forwards to actually realise in Xcode and into the app. And in parallel, we developed a CMS system for future population of other artists with the format. So we offered a few different paradigms for the user. Here's a screen grab, and I know I spoke out against faders, but yes, we had some faders because actually as research we were evaluating user response. We built some systems into this thing where it would phone home and we could see the way people were behaving when they used it. So although I personally was a little bit cynical about the faders were a useful research tool to see how the audience responded to them. We also had the things populated with stems, but not just fixed stems of a track, but multiple stems of different, a given artist could interpret these in different ways. It could be different genres or just different takes or a number of different recordings of live performances. So there's a lot of scope there. And switching them in and out with this rather cryptic interface was another paradigm that we explored. Then we had the so-called manual crossfading, 3 different versions of the song in 3 different corners of the triangle, and the user could drag their finger around and explore those. And then intelligent crossfading, where there is a matrix, a square matrix of different combinations of different stems, and there are intelligent crossfades going on which are responsive to the actual musical content. And they all fade differently at the same time. So we're not talking about a single master fader, say like the AB slider in Ableton. We're actually intelligently morphing all of the stems at once to try and get the most musical crossfades. And further, this particular paradigm had a sort of play and go, back to this thing of passive listening. If you want an interactive musical experience which is different each time, you want to have it, a phrase I come back to is user influenced, machine controlled. We have 4 buttons here, whereby the user can press one and the machine will find its own way through the song, and every time you listen to it, it will be different, or very likely different, but along the lines of a certain flavour, depending on how the thing has been populated with the background music. So here's some other screen grabs of the app. I'm going to change to my iPad in just a moment and show you that, but it's perhaps worth noting that the album app format uses more than just the interactivity, which is the nice bit for Mixed-D, of course, but we do have lyrics, we have song information, we have credits, a very important thing that we're missing. We have extended graphical content with links to the internet, where we can hook up to YouTube and social media, and it can have live tour dates being fed into it. So it's an environment, it's a little package. Whereas the user with a computer would probably have to go to 2 or 3 different places to access all that stuff, artist website, Facebook, etc. So we have an environment here, but importantly for this forum is the interactivity in the thing. There's a rather not very pretty screenshot of the data which gets reported back to us on user interactivity. So at that point, I'm going to switch device and we'll go into a live demonstration of this thing. So bear with me whilst I do a quick bit of plugging around. Can probably manage. Figure out which end to plug the thing into. Thank you very much. We're there? Yeah. Okay, so this is now, we close the laptop to prove that live on stage. I have an app running. This is our app. I can't see my watch in the dark, Rennie. Can you tell me how long I've got, please?
5 minutes.
I've got 5 of presentation?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So, yeah, I was a total pro. I had my stopwatch running, but they plunged me into blackness, so I'm neutered. Anyway, very, very briefly, as I told you, we have the gallery going, and I have no audio here. I do need some audio support from a technician, please. So as I mentioned, we have the gallery. I can swipe through pictures of the artists. This can be populated in any way the artist likes. This one wanted live photos. So we have a bit of the old LP added value going on there with the pictures within. The band have some information too. We have artist biog, we have the credits, something that I'm sure many of us feel very passionately about. So it's good to be able to have those things. But let's get on to the interactive music bit and show you a couple of things in action. So I'm going to start off with a slightly cryptic circle. And this thing basically plays back the artist's version of the song as it stands. No, that's okay, I can fly it. Yeah, thank you. It's playing back the song, but we're able to move the spot around. Obviously you can't see my hand, but I'm putting my finger on this spot and moving it around. And as I move up towards the top, we get an a cappella version of the song in real time. Or as we fade down to the bottom, it becomes more acoustic. If you tap it, you can turn the vocal off. And then we have karaoke mode, so we just swipe along, we've got lyrics there, and you can sing along. Put the vocals back in. So that's the main form of the song, but if I were to move over here, we can change it. To the dub. Or over here, a bit more dubstep. Choose your own blends. Etc. So there's one of the modes of operation. Here is a different one, and this is the one where we can apply intelligent crossfades into different sounds. The fade's not complete until the little white square has disappeared. Etc. Now, it's going to be pretty hard to do this. I've got 2 minutes dead, but I'd like to just try and give you a taste of the machine doing its own thing. I'm going to have to run the song from the top each time, but try and pay attention to, forgive me, that's pat-patty. Please pay attention to the position of the squares and the audio that you're getting, because I'm going to repeat it, and the machine will probably choose to give us a slightly different version next time around. So I'll have to run this for a little while.
I never ever felt like this before. Now firecrackers down to my door.
So at the moment it's playing that square. It's loosely highlighted, though it's not very obvious on the projector. It's better on the screen. So it's moved, as you can see, and it's decided for the verse coming in. It was a rather lumpy one, that, but it's a bit like a musician. Sometimes it's better than other times. Okay, I'm going to stop it there and just repeat that process. Ask it to do it again. So it started at the same place it finished. That's pure coincidence. Perfectly aligned to my moderator's cue to stop. So I will You've got some time for some questions, perhaps even with light, or if you prefer in the dark. I don't mind, it's pretty mysterious here.
Yeah, we have 5 minutes for questions, so there's one in the back there.
Yeah, well, I'm late. Hi, really interesting stuff. I remember I was working on an app for VW where we didn't take a gesture control, but we took the input of the car to control stuff like this. And it would be really interesting to see where the similarities are in what we did and how you implemented it. It would be really interesting to see get some idea of how you manipulate the system, or how do you because there's a lot of skill sets involved. You need somebody that curates music. If you want to release this, you need people to curate the stems in the way that this works. Do you have a backend for that, or how do you do that?
Well, I introduced something of a team that worked on this. And by the way, I'm familiar with your work, and amazing. Talk to me afterwards, because I know a research institute that's continuing that. You might be interested. Yes, the team comprised everyone from hardcore coders to pure musicians, and both myself and my partner Rob are music producers as well. Rob had produced that stuff. So he had the foot straddling both camps into the coding and the actual aesthetics of the music, working with the artist. I was more involved with the sort of algorithmic side, the way the software was to behave, but I also acted as a sort of production consultant, if you like, on certain modes of operation. But the whole system is designed to be transferable. It's a format. Something I didn't say before, I ran out of time. In fact, we're currently negotiating with a major record label, one of the big three, to offer a major release of this later in the year. So watch out for that coming soon. I can't tell you any more right now, but hopefully you will see a commercial implementation of this. And after I've gone through that with some high-level artists and their production teams and management, importantly, and label, importantly, and perhaps I'll be able to answer your question more fully, because it'd be interesting to see people who are out with the circle of trust, if I can use that expression, see how they respond to being manipulated in this fashion.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm afraid we are out of time, but I'm sure you can continue.
Yes, catch me later on.
Break, please.
I'd be very happy to chat to anyone about this stuff later on.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.